And they actually for the new house to start coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is 6 o'clock. It is 6 o'clock PM. We're going to call this regular September 19th, 2022 City Council meeting to order. Call the roll, please.
Barb,
Kirkland,
Here.
Mahler,
Here.
Schott,
yes.
Fine.
Well, wait a second, see if
I
Barb
think
walks
she's
the
coming.
door.
I hear somebody in the hallway.
Barb, get over here.
Wally, yes.
Yes.
We'll count her tardy.
Yes.
Okay. Need a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion before we approve the meeting agenda? If not, call the roll, please.
Schott,
Yes.
Wally,
Yes.
Berglund,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Fine.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to consent agenda. Tonight for the consent agenda, we have the following. Minutes of the September 6, 2022 regular city council meeting. Payments for contract services as follows: Bolton and Mink runway 1430 seconds relocation phase 3, $8,838.15. Bolton and Mink runway 1430 seconds relocation phase 2, $11,248.65. Bolton and Mink runway 1430 seconds relocation phase 1, $81,185 and even I guess money. Okay. Bolton and Mink municipal general engineering $80. Bolton and Mink Weiss Park improvements $768. Bolton and Mink comprehensive plan $28,550.50. And Ethos Hotel Patee facility evaluation $11,374.60. And you get your calculator out, those should add up to $142,049.90. Claims registers and financials, we have $1,951,278.72. We have no licenses and permits tonight. Need a motion to approve the consent items we just reviewed.
I'll make a motion to approve. the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on the consent agenda items? If not, call the roll, please.
I've got one question.
Go ahead.
Is Ethos going to give us a written program? of what's-
Yep,
Are they all done now?
yep, they're done.
Great.
Yep.
Glad they were.
So
And
When do
there's,
we expect that?
we've got it now.
Oh, the
So,
written one?
yep.
Okay.
So I can send that. It's large, so I would have to send a Google Drive link out to everybody if you'd like to view that. So, no, not really. Just kind of, set out a lot of what we already knew and kind of set a little bit of a priority as far as what improvements. So it's several hundred pages, so I'm not all the way through it yet. So.
any other discussion on consent agenda items? If not, call the roll, please.
Klein,
Yes.
Berglund,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Wally, Schott.
Yes.
Thank you. City administrators report.
Okay, the big one I'm going to talk about tonight is Bateman Street. So they started on that the last week and have gotten pretty good so far. So they have about 2 blocks torn up right now and are making good progress. So they're going to start back up tomorrow, I believe, and get going again on that. Just a reminder, they do kind of have a different schedule. Is it 10 days on and 4 days off? So they're a Minnesota company. So they kind of do a longer work week and then take 2 weekends together essentially. So just so that everybody's aware of that, they might be working through some weekends and things like that. So otherwise, I think the project is going along and it's. So while our project is going on Bateman, the foundry is actually tearing out some of their area as well. Just as everything is shut down, they figured it was a good time to do some of their work. So they're just doing some repaving outside of the right of way where we abandoned that right of way, headed north on Second Street. So. Yep, that's their
Is it the
contractor.
same crew?
No, it's a different contractor. Yeah. So. Any other questions for me? All the other projects we have going are on track and doing well. So.
We've had some,
Not quite yet. They're still working on the 4,000 feet. And we're waiting on a land closing so that the Corps can release the wetland credits so that we can obtain the wetland credits and start that dirt work. So I think that's scheduled for October sometime.
been
Hopefully
fortunate
hopefully
for,
yet this year.
for all of our outside projects. We've had nice weather. for the
Yep.
most part.
You bet.
Hopefully it'll continue for a while. Anything else for Sven? If not, mayor council comments. I just have a couple of things. Went to 2 ribbon cuttings today, and that's always a pleasure and fun to do. The first one was at Progressive Foundry, and they celebrated their expansion and their new offices and break areas and stuff that we've all driven by many times going down First Street. Very nice area if you haven't seen it, and they were also very appreciative of the city and us working with them over the recent years. So that was a pleasure to go to. And the second one I went to was at Dallas County Hospital. They have an education program going that they're part of now, and it's to get nurses their RN degree in 18 months. And yes, it is RN, it's not LPS. That was exciting to hear more about as well. The other thing I had, I couldn't forget this, is to congratulate Perry High School on their big victory Friday night. That was so much fun to watch, and everybody was so excited that was there. I know many of you were there in the crowds and students, and it was just really neat to watch. And as the announcers on the radio said, not just the high school, but the community needed a win. And it's been so long. So that was really, really exciting to see, and I hope they have many more to follow. But it was neat. They had a great week for homecoming, and again, the weather was nice for the homecoming activities and the football game. So that was really neat to see. That's all I have. Council comments?
I would just like to add a little bit on the foundry. I think most of us were there. I was so impressed with the quality of their planning and their offices and that space. It is really, really well done, well put together, and has to be a great place for their office. Yeah. Really.
And a couple of us said, myself included, I didn't think it looked all that big driving by it. But
No.
when you get in there, there's a lot of room.
Yeah, there was more space and more room inside than I thought.
Yeah.
But man, it was really well done.
And they were very appreciative of working with the city.
Walked by there for many, many years. Not just in the offices, but throughout. So many improvements. Great. Their filtration systems. Closing down Second Street.
Express the same thing. It's, it's always exciting for all of us, myself included, to see new businesses, new industries, and new whatever come to town. But it's also exciting to see people that have been here, businesses, industries, and others, improve and expand. So it's just great to see it across the board. Anything else from council?
I need to remind the community, we have a car show coming up on October 8th downtown Perry from Ellis. Further, if we have to, Free Republic, we've got a 5K run from the hospital the same day. ADL is at DMAC is also gonna have a booth and some help there. So, a fun day, we'll have a lot of people there. October 8th, 10 to 3, downtown Perry.
Why don't you encourage some people with those cars to come that would be willing to let us take a test?
A bunch of us have been going to every car show around Iowa and handing out these to get more people here. We've got a lot of people say they're coming. They loved the one last year. We'll see
It
what
was
happens. Oh, yeah, their car shows everywhere right now.
Okay.
See cars on the road every day.
It'll be exciting. Again, you need to guarantee that the weather cooperates.
Oh, it will. Rain or shine, we'll be there.
Okay, the convertible tops may have to be up, but we'll be there. Anything else from council? If not, we'll move on to open forum. As usual, speakers will be asked to step up to the microphone and state their name and address for the record. Individuals speaking will be given 3 minutes to address the council. Again, this is your opportunity, anybody here present or anybody on Zoom, to speak about any topic that's either on the agenda tonight or anything else you care to bring up. This is your opportunity for this meeting to do so. Open forum speakers.
Yeah, Jim Knox, 1115 West Fourth, and I'm in favor of the open burning. You know, I guess I can't understand why it's such a hassle to have the open burning here where it's being debated every year. Because Boone is twice the size of Perry, and they got open burning in the spring and the fall, both. You know, and I don't know. I just feel that there should be more insight into it. That's all I got to say about it. Just
Okay,
state-
thank you.
I'd say it.
Thank you.
I'm John Purdue. I live at 2513 Willis Avenue, and I was here several months ago to talk about the speeding on Willis Avenue. It has not improved at all, and that's not knocking the police department because they have said that they have trouble using radar in that section. So what I'm asking is if you can put some of those signs on both sides of Willis that indicate how fast somebody is going, so that maybe that will curb the speeding because somebody is going to get hurt. And especially at that corner at 16th and Willis. And I just would appreciate, since there's not been any improvement. In fact, if anything, it's getting worse. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else here for open forum? Anybody online? One more time. Anybody else here for open forum? If not, we'll move on. Thank you, everybody that did come for open forum tonight. Appreciate that. Good. We'll go on to old business. First item is resolution approving a site plan. Semper Fi Commercial Solutions LLC submitted a site plan for a project in the industrial park that the council previously approved a development agreement for. A 14,000 square foot building is to be constructed on lots, I guess I and E or 1 and E. The Planning and Zoning Commission met on September 13th, 2022, and recommends approval without the proposed sidewalks shown on the plans, and with this condition that those lots be combined before a certificate of occupancy is issued. This resolution would accept the site plan for the conditions stated by the Planning and Zoning Commission. Need a motion, please?
I make a motion to pass a resolution approving the site plan.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
What's the situation with the sidewalks?
So regarding the sidewalk, when they'd submitted their site plan, we sent it back with comments. Per code, generally, we do require sidewalks be constructed with new development, given if the development meets one of 3 different criteria. Staff felt that it met one of those to an extent. On further review with the planning commission and discussion there, they felt that it was kind of a stretch and that requiring these at this point maybe wasn't as sound as they would have liked it to have been. So they opted to not require that. Correct.
I would just add that we'll also come up with the next shell building. So that would, I don't know if that would make a difference or if it's a different situation, but I think overall sidewalks and in the industrial park as it becomes built out will be a conversation. There's actually people that go out there and walk. And then also as there's more employees out there, some people go and walk on lunch breaks and things like that. Or could walk to work if there was a sidewalk all the way out there.
Wouldn't it be smart just to require it now?
I think
We're done with it.
the discussion was this is phase 1 of a multi-phase project. So in one of those future phases, I think they would be putting in the sidewalk.
Yeah, it very well could, especially if we start to see sidewalks integrated into further development out there. So.
Will that include it? Will be picking up on that?
Yep.
And all of that?
Yep.
Is that coming soon?
Kind of waiting for that other side to really finish up and then we'll address the Lutheran home side.
Sure.
But I know comprehensive plan sidewalks have been a pretty big topic so far. So just kind of keep that in mind as we have these conversations. And, you know, our code as it is now, at any point, we could send letters to require sidewalks be installed. So it's not like we don't have any teeth if something changes in the future.
I think on that note, it's also worth noting, while at times looking at some of these site plans, asking for that sidewalk, you kind of get this floating sidewalk that doesn't connect to anything. But as we try to fill these gaps, we do have to start somewhere. So it might look goofy now, but in time that would eventually connect to, you know, the existing network.
Okay, any other discussion on approving this site plan? If not, call the roll, please.
Mahler,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Berglund,
Yes.
Walling, Klein,
Yes.
Thank you, Daniel. Item B under old business, resolution approving a plat of survey. A plat of survey was submitted by Ty-Ann Surveying for Mr. Kyle and Mrs. Mindy Baxter to reconfigure the lot lines of 2 parcels that they own. The Planning and Zoning Commission met on September 13th, 2022 and recommends approval. This resolution would approve the action creating parcels 22-111 and 21-112. Need a motion?
I make a motion, we pass resolution approving a plat of survey.
A second.
Discussion?
Yep, so it's 2 parcels right now. So they're just retracing a line to have less property with the house up front and combine that with the shop in the back.
Any other discussion on approving this plat of survey? If not, call the roll, please.
Berglund,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Walling, Schott,
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to new business. Item A under new business, discussion and possible action on resolution setting 2022 fall yard waste open burn dates. City Hall has been receiving calls regarding the dates for open burning for fall of 2022. In the past, open burn has been set for roughly 3 weeks from 10 a.m. till sundown. A resolution has been drafted off historical practices and has proposed dates for 2022 being from October 31st, 2022 till November 20th, 2022. Curbside services for collection of yard waste will continue through December 7th, 2022. And the yard waste collection site will remain open for the residential disposal of yard waste. As always, residents are encouraged to try and find alternative methods to open burning of yard waste disposal. However, council will need to discuss and determine the outcome for 2022 fall yard waste open burn. Need a motion to consider this or discuss it?
I'll second that motion.
Discussion of burning for fall yard waste.
I'll start out. I've had a bunch of people this year call me and say, we've got open dumping out at the other end of town 24/7 now. They've got a lot of health problems. I've had several that have asthma, they can't breathe, the smoke bothers them really bad. So I would suggest we try not burning this year. Let's haul it all out there. It's free, it's no charge. We've had this discussion now for 7 years since I've been.
been trying to ban it for fucking 10 years.
I've been on the board for a long time, but I've got health concerns if we can't haul it out there. I don't mind having sticks and things like that burnt, but wet leaves is just a mess. And I'm here to represent the people that have complained. I haven't had anybody say, yes, I would like open burning in my area of town. So. Have you really? Right. If it's dry, it's fine. I've got leaves, I throw them in a big tarp, I mulch them first. And I've got a pickup. So that's.
You don't have a pickup.
That's a
It's
big,
troublesome.
that's a big thing.
That's
Well,
the big thing.
in our neighborhood, we have the majority of them that use the yard waste out there, they dump it. And we have volunteered, the ones that have pickups, that if they want, we will haul. We have them for people too. But we have a lot of leaves too. I used to have 15, 20 bags for the trees, but we are losing some with derecho and now with ash trees. But we have in our area a person that doesn't abide. He burns the leaves after hours. He's not there to watch them. And that's the problem we have.
Is it closer than 30?
Oh, yes. And it's not on his property.
He's not hurt. It's not- What would you
And
do
that's in
such
our
a-
area, so I don't know.
What would you do if it's not even burning anything?
Well, that's probably a Chief Vaughn and Chief Hines issue.
Someone's saying.
He's not on his own property.
And this has happened several years. I mean, I think there's been a lot of neighbors that called the police on after hours and wet leaves, not even being there. That's
Chief, you and your department has to deal with open burning every year. What are your thoughts this year on open burning and the problems we've had recently or not had?
Well, yeah, most of our complaints, I mean, burning out of season, we have complaints all year long about people burning, and they do. We have people that burn wet leaves, and that's an issue. Just for air quality, we have complaints about that, especially at night. And then we have people that are burning at night and letting their piles smolder overnight. So when people are trying to sleep or when they open their windows, we get those complaints too. And the unattended piles too. We find a lot of those. Those are probably our three big ones really that we get complaints about.
File charges against people that are.
Yeah, we write municipal infractions. Usually with municipal infractions, we give warnings and then citations for second offense and third offense and that type of thing.
You feel like we have a lot of problems, or are they more towards minimal?
Well, I mean, we talked about this in our leadership meeting the other day. I don't have my numbers in front of me, but in the last, I looked over like our last probably, I think 5 years, and the numbers are like usually between 30 and 50 complaints every year.
All year long?
Yeah, I didn't break it down, but yeah, those are the complaints that we get for this in the citations that we've written. So.
Okay. Any questions for Chief?
Have we ever had any, has there ever been any like accidents, people getting hurt, buildings accidentally catching fire? Has there been any major issues like that?
Yeah, there's been a few I can think of. I can think of a garage off the top of my head. Often we have the complaints about burning close to somebody else's property and those type of things. I don't know, Chris maybe can answer that. But I can think of one garage for sure within the last few years.
We've had that happen. Generally, it's the own property owner's own property that they fire.
Chief Hines, I was going to ask you for your input. Do you have any thoughts you want to share on open burning this year?
Well, as Chief Bond stated, this is something that goes on year round. People are continually burning throughout the year. We don't normally get a call on that unless it's something that, you know, has gotten out of hand or whatever, and then it gets referred to us to come out and put it out. And that's what we do. I can think of one business, if you will, that we've been called on 2 or 3 times that claims that they have city permission to burn any time of the year, and we've had to go out and put their smoldering smudge pot out several times, and they tell us we'll just relight it again. And they do have permission from the city to burn, but they don't burn where they have permission to burn. They burn elsewhere on their property, and that's part of the problem that we have with them. Other than that, Eric's group handles it pretty well. They go out and warn them. They've cited them. And if the people don't put it out, then they refer it to us and we come out and put it out. And when we put it out, they don't get it relit.
Usually when I'm ready, we just like throw some water on it, or, you know, if it's small, we just tell them, you know, let it burn out and don't put anything else to it. You know, the other problem that we have, you know, we talk about burning all year long is people putting other things besides leaves in their piles and taking that opportunity to throw in the plywood or the old mattress or do whatever. And we have those issues too. So.
One of the things that they say, well, we can have a recreational fire. Right. And they use that fire ring to burn their other things in. And what we've got a recreational fire, it's in the fire ring. You can't cite us for this because it's recreational fire. We're burning in our fire ring. So that's generally what they try to pull.
Okay, do you cite them?
We do. They,
Okay.
that's part of what I'll do.
Yeah, okay, so if they're burning in a fire pit and they're putting materials in there that's not appropriate.
Right.
You get a call, you'll write it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can stand up there in the forum, but you know, this time of year, it's the one, you know, time to see. People are up here with our meetings, you know. We have some house, you know, if it was dry, they, like you said, they would burn.
Jeremy, anything else to say for you?
I guess just one more question, Chief Bond. What is the citation after you give them a warning? What's the dollar? What is it? Pretty. The dollar amount is $145. Yep, $50 for the first offense plus $95 court costs.
Does that seem to deter the same person burn again 5 weeks later, or?
We go around, I mean, like, we go around every year. I mean, I don't know that, we're tagging the same persons every year, but, you know, and that's depends on whether we can catch them or whether we get the complaints that they're burning at that time too.
This is maybe not a fair question for you, but I'm gonna ask you. If we vote this down, how will you handle it?
If we vote it down and don't let them, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go out and.
But don't you think there'll be a lot more violations because?
I think some people like it.
Yeah.
I think there are some people that like it, but I think we have a lot better options out there to do it. It's like fireworks. What's the decision? What's, you know, it's quality of life. What do we want to do? You know? What do you want?
Sorry for the people that either physically can't or because of equipment that they don't have or so on and so forth to actually get rid of that stuff. And this open burning, if they treat it fairly, they can probably go out and rake a little bit together, stick a match to it, watch it, and get stuff cleaned up. I think that's important. I hate the fact that apparently so many people are disregarding it time after time. And they just don't care. I don't know whether we should change what's the cost. Whether that would have any effect on them.
Change what?
How much the fine is going to be. You know, if we doubled or tripled the fine, you know, and it really hurt their pocketbook, would that stop them?
I think, and as you say, the people that go out and really need to do this and actually care for it and tend to their fires, do it the way it's supposed to, this helps them. The people that have a total disregard for this, regardless of what the council actions tonight on this will be, it's going to be business as usual. They're going to go out and do as they please, and it's going to be business as usual. Regardless of whether you pass it or you don't, they're going to go out and burn anyway. Eric and his people are going to have to deal with it anyway. And I don't think it's going to matter what you set the fine at. They're going to try and, you know, I think I can get away with it today and get caught.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Chris, do you charge them when you have to go out and put the fire out?
Didn't hear what all you said.
Does the fire department charge them when they have to go out and put the fire out?
We haven't been, we discussed this at the previous council meeting. We're going to start charging, but we're still getting proverbial ducks in a row to do this. Sven and I have got things that we're working on to get this taken care of, to start charging for those kind of things. Yes, we will be.
It was included in the budget this year. So we just need to set those, the fee schedule. So
Yeah, I think you guys have to approve of these things, things like that.
When will that be done?
hopefully,
Before leaf burning starts?
well, no,
It should
hopefully,
be done before leaf burning starts, so if we can find them, we can find them. That's how you get it fixed. We don't talk
Well-
about it for 3 years.
they already,
Set a fee and let's find them, if they're already contacted about it anyway. That'll help.
Start charging $150 every time we show up. And increase that, second, third offense,
That's a good start.
maybe their attention.
I like $150.
Now we need to decide what we want to do this, every year it's kind of a tough issue to discuss, but there's always people for burning and against the burning. For some, it boils down to a quality of life issue, that they have health issues that it really does affect them. For others, they enjoy it. They don't have a pickup to haul their leaves, as we've discussed, even though we do have more options now with the yard waste location. And maybe it doesn't have to be all or nothing thing for council to decide. The date set in this draft ordinance or policy is October 31st to November 20th. If we don't want to make it all or nothing, it's up to council to decide that. But we could also consider shortening the period, the burn period, not have a 3 week. Yeah, and that's a tough call because you don't know when the weather's gonna be right, so.
I don't know how to do this or how to propose it, but I'll ask the question. Could we not vote on this tonight? And we have time and come back in 2 weeks with a different fee schedule.
I think we have to set that by ordinance. So it would not, the fees would not be, well, I shouldn't say not be able to. You could pass all 3 readings of an ordinance in one meeting. Or the first meeting in October, well, wouldn't be published probably in time.
I really hate to tell the good citizens that use it honestly and fairly and neat that they can't do. But I don't have a qualm about tripling the fee for the people.
And I think the key on that is, I don't think that when the police department gets called out on these, that the fire department goes out a lot. So I think there's a little bit of we need to disconnect that a little bit on the urgency necessary. I mean, probably out of, 15 tickets, I don't know if you have to have the fire department put out a couple, if that.
Maybe they should.
But don't we already have a fine in place if you're called out and issue a citation?
A municipal infraction, yeah.
So we do have something in place for municipal infraction that we charge.
So in the past, there was a municipal infraction fee schedule in our code. Currently, the fee schedule is just a municipal infraction, which the state had changed, and it's up to $750 per infraction. So we've given officers kind of a fee schedule because we didn't want to, we want to be consistent with that, and we didn't want to just have random fees that for infractions, municipal infractions. So it could be. Yeah. We've never done
So
that.
that could be a part of this resolution. setting the municipal infraction.
I'm the new guy here. The guy that hasn't dealt with this before. So if you guys want, I can give you my new guy thoughts, give you guys something to think about. 30 to 50 complaints a year doesn't seem like a lot. When we look at our community, how many people are probably using this. I agree that not allowing the people who don't have access to a pickup or another way to dispose of these things, puts them in the bind, the predicament, makes them make a decision about whether I'm going to leave my leaves or do it illegally. Also, you know, dead brown leaves are unsightly. That'll be the next thing, that people are just leaving them in their yard to wilt away rather than pick them up because they can't burn. The fire department trucks don't roll for free, so I think there should probably be something. They have to go deal with one of these irresponsible burners problems, that there should probably be some kind of recourse for that. The water's not free, these guys' time's not free, but that's the thing. I don't think $145 fine is probably discouraging too many people that are already deciding to do whatever they're going to do, you know. Maybe some more public awareness campaigns for the disposal programs, so we can slow down some of the burning for people that don't necessarily need to do it, who maybe don't know about programs that we have, things like that. What about, have we ever talked about the burn permit? Is that for people that wanted to burn, maybe that would break down the amount of people that burn, because I agree with Chief Vaughn on that too. It's unpleasant sometimes, it really is. But some of the unpleasantness are things we have. So maybe if we could figure out a way to trim down the amount of burning that needs to happen, and make people that are not doing legally right, it's a little bit higher infraction. This is the new guy's perspective. I've never had to deal with it before. It's all new information to me.
So a couple of things. Starting with the permitting, it's something that we have talked about before, but I think kind of where we've come back to is it's going to be like a chicken issue. Of, right, you see your neighbor has chickens and you just think you can go get chickens, and people don't understand that they have to go to city hall.
Yeah,
So
I'm sure that
that's
a ton of
that tends, yeah, that tends to kind of be that issue of, well, my neighbor's doing it, why can't I? I will say, in our discussion at our L10 meeting, we did discuss maybe some other public awareness type stuff. So I think whatever's decided with open burning, we're definitely going to be pushing the curbside pickup as well as our yard waste disposal site. And then John with Parks and Recreation Department is going to be putting together, once some leaves fall, to talk about it. He's going to be putting together a little educational video on the benefits to lawns and yards of mulching leaves and the nutrients that puts back into their soil and builds up yards. So that's what, you know, administration will be doing as far as public awareness and getting that out there. And then John with Parks and Rec will be helping out with that video of educating on mulching leaves. So despite what comes of open burning or not, we'll be doing everything we can to communicate that the best we can.
Just from my unscientific observation over the last few years, I don't think as many people burn as used. In fact, I think it's quite a bit.
And this is only the second year that the disposal site has, I think it was even better last year, but the second year that the disposal site is open. And now that's going to be open year round, weather dependent. So maybe this is just another year to kind of educate people that that's an option and get them encouraged to use that site. And we have started some compost piles with that yard waste and some of the mulch that we get, as well as some of the ash from the burning that we do. So the yard waste, leaves, grass, stuff like that is composted and will be used in the city. So
I like everybody's comments here. Rolling around, making this, try and work for everybody. I would make a motion that we get our fees in line in this next 2 weeks and bring it up the first meeting of next October. And talk about a little bit more then. If we've got some fines, some fines all online, maybe that's a good way to go. And, you know, I think we're kind of on jury right now. We don't know which way we want to go. And maybe it's good. Get a few more things done and then we'll have to pass it up. But vote.
are you talking about like recommending the municipal infraction fee? That can just be done in the motion. Otherwise, the fire service fee schedule is a separate thing.
Yeah.
Which are you referring to?
I was referring to all, let's get it all online so we can get everything figured out, so we know what our fines are, both for the fire and for the infractions. So we have a little bit more information on, boom, you know, this is what's gonna cost you if you're not here to do this illegally.
While I agree with you, I think that if we are going to raise the fines and we're talking about a little over a month away, probably we need to get that information out to the public. Because, I guess, correct me if I heard it wrong, it's just Chief Vaughn getting all his guys on the same page about what that municipal citation would be. Yeah.
Just, we set that with the yard waste dump site and the fee schedule of, is it 250 and 500 or? I forget, 500, so.
It was listed in the
I mean,
rules.
You could set open burning and just say tickets will be 250 and 500 for first and second offense, or because the fire's fee schedule gets into a lot more than just burning. It's house fires and calls out and things like that too. So false alarms. So there's a lot more to that than just.
Yeah, it's more of a separate. That's what we talked about. You said we are working on it.
Yep. So, but I think, that municipal infraction can be set at whatever. It's more so a matter for council discussion of whether or not to allow open burning as we have in the past, a shorter time or at all.
So we could even set the fee schedule even tonight if we wanted to.
For the municipal infraction, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been, a number of years that we've kind of shortened it to right after Halloween to right before Thanksgiving. So kind of avoid any issues with kids out trick or treating and there being smoke in the air, and then allowing things to clear out for the holidays.
So we can deal with this tonight.
And like
With the fee schedule.
like the memo stated, like we are starting to get calls and questions. So especially after our heat wave tomorrow, it's going to get down into the 40s, I believe, in this next week. So I think stuff will really start to turn. So probably start getting more calls, which say they haven't set anything yet, and you can do curbside pickup or take it to the dump site in the meantime.
Somebody wishes that.
things are, you know, like. It's all mixed, but you got soil like that. Wow.
What do you mean it's mixed? Sticks and other stuff, in, okay, not just various strengths.
I don't think you sort sticks and leaves, it's just big branches you sort out from the sticks and leaves.
We have, there's a like leaves and grass pile, limbs and then logs pile.
It's all mixed together.
But if it's small sticks, you can throw them right in the leaves.
This isn't a discussion item.
Yeah, we've had open forum. So does anybody want to put forward a motion for resolution, either setting, burn dates along with the infraction fine amount or the opposite, to put a motion in place that we ban open burning? We have one or the other, I guess.
I guess just one thing I'd like to say is, I agree that the ones who do it right, abide and follow the rules and don't have a pickup and stuff, yes, it is hard for them. But I want to emphasize that there is a lot of people that don't go by the hours, the dates or anything like that, and they shouldn't be allowed to do that. So it's better to have something where maybe if we start finding them, maybe they'll quit.
And I think Eric Chief on said they do fine.
I mean,
When
it
necessary.
doesn't seem like we're gonna, I'd like to see it, sorry, but I'd like to see it banned just because of air quality. And it seems like every year during this time, we have more wet leaves, and it is terrible. And I'm with Chief Bond, our windows usually can be open and we can't open them because of air quality. So that's the
The
problem.
way, and Dewey, correct me if I'm wrong, or Susie, two lawyers. It wouldn't be necessarily a vote to ban, it would just be not necessarily taking action to set dates, because the ordinance already bans other than when council sets dates for open burning.
Okay.
So it would just be not taking action of not setting, but maybe setting municipal infractions for open burning or something like that. Or setting some dates with higher municipal infractions.
I think we have so many ideas and options and directions. that In my opinion, we're best to let this sit and come back, talk about it, think about it, react about it, and discuss it too.
I think so.
I can make up my mind, I can vote. I'm not sure that I know exactly how I feel.
So I think I need a
I'll say
motion.
yea or nay if that's what you
I
want.
think I need a motion not to set dates or to set dates with municipal infraction amounts.
Can also just not, if there's no motion or second, then it would just have no action taken. And it could be on the next agenda, and if that would happen, I guess in the meantime, staff would just reiterate options of going forward with options other than burning pending council's decision. Oh, Susie is reminding me that the newsletter is going to be sent out soon. So that's why it was on this agenda, so that it could be in the newsletter for October.
Until sundown. Violators of wet burning
First offense. I don't think wet wet burning. It would really only be the days and times.
Violate the time frames.
Okay, outside of the time frames allowed. No
How do you feel about that fraction? Do you have any opinion one way or the other? Barbara, would you repeat your motion one more time? If you can.
Set the burn dates for October 1st to November 20th, from 10 a.m. until sundown. Under the guidelines that we currently have, which is 30 feet away from a structure in your own backyard. Backyard,
And it has to be attended.
and it has to be attended.
Barb, I think what you're trying to say is already in the drafted.
Right.
So basically, you're approving the drafted resolution with the addition of a multiple infraction of $250 for the first offense and the second offense of $500. That's not right, Dewey? Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
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 We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Further discussion before we vote on that? Okay, call the roll.
So I have Walling,
Yes.
Muller,
Yes.
Berkeley,
No,
Schott,
Yes.
Klein.
I'm gonna have to say yes, because we don't have enough time this year, but I want this on the agenda next year early. I think I mentioned it a couple months ago, let's get this yard burning. And I think we need to discuss it next year and see how it's going.
And I think we need a focus first campaign to get people to use their.
I think we need more publicity, and I don't know how the devil would do it, but we need more publicity about the whole situation. The
Well,
fact of where they can take it legally, when they can take it legally, when they can't do this, when they can't do that. I think there's a lot of people that don't even know we discussed
Probably. And there's a lot of people that, I mean, just right around town, their lawns need mowed bad. I mean, I've never seen it so bad
it.
this
Did you
year.
drive by my house today?
Hey, I know that.
But I mean, there are a lot of. yards
Okay,
out
we-
there.
We've passed the date set for fall yard waste open burn.
We have some volunteers, is that right?
We've asked for volunteers, but I don't think we're getting very many. Okay. I think we need to move on then. We,
I just had one more thing to say. I want to commend all of you guys on this kind of. I voted because I had so many people in my area that can't breathe. They have to keep their air conditioning on 65 so they can breathe. Well, I think we come to a good conclusion here. I respect the way we voted tonight. I was touchy on maybe I should have voted yes, but I voted for the people that contacted me that were really struggling to breathe. But this is a good conclusion.
it's a struggle every year, and I think we've said we will, encourage people to use other alternatives. Education, so I feel good about that too. All right, moving on. Thank you, everybody. It's a tough decision every year. Next item, resolution accepting updates to the 2016 Housing Needs Assessment. Region 12 Council of Governments was selected to complete a housing needs assessment for the community per resolution 072015C, and which was completed in 2016. This assessment needed to be updated to include recent data on population and housing stock. This resolution would accept the updated document, 2016 Housing Needs Assessment, updated September 2022. Need a motion, please? Discussion.
So this is something that once we get census data, whenever that might happen, we'll have Region 12 do a full update, but in the meantime, we just added data from what we had of new homes built or remodeled in that period. So not a whole lot of new information, but at least it has a update stamp on it. So.
Any further discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling. Yes. Berkland.
Yes.
Mahler.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next item, resolution setting a public hearing on proposed zoning amendment from agriculture to light duty industrial. This resolution would set a public hearing for October 3, 2022 at 6 p.m. On the second floor boardroom of the Towncraft Building located at 1122 Willis Avenue, Perry, Iowa, for the council to receive public comment on a proposed zoning amendment. This proposed amendment requested by Perry Economic Development for real estate owned by the organization would apply more appropriate zoning for land identified for future expansion of the industrial park, changing it from agriculture to light industrial. The Planning Commission have held a hearing and recommended approval for the September 13, 2022 meeting. Again, we're just setting the date for the public hearing. Need a motion, please?
I make a motion to pass a resolution setting a public hearing on the proposed zoning amendment from agricultural AG to light industrial LI.
Any discussion on setting this public hearing? If not, call the roll, please.
Mahler.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Berkland.
Yes.
Walling. Yes. Klein.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item, resolution approving a local planning and administrative assistance contract with Region 12. This contract would allow Region 12 to assist with technical and administrative requirements of a grant the Nudgers are seeking from Iowa Economic Development Authority for their 1306 Second Avenue project per IEDA. The city must act as the applicant. This resolution would approve the contract and contract cost of $1,000 and authorize the mayor to sign and be entered into by the city of Perry. Need a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution approving a local planning and administrative assistant contract with Region.
Discussion?
Who's paying $1,000?
That would be a cost that the city would pay.
Why?
For Region 12's technical and administrative assistance on
We're
this.
doing it for something.
Per IEDA, we are technically going to be the applicant. That's pretty standard for that organization. The city or municipality applies sort of for private entity.
What's the amount of the grant?
It's up to 500,000. They'd probably be getting around half of that. Cool thing about this grant is that it does include money that's previously been invested into it, so there's not an additional match. Nudgers would be looking for the recently created upper story housing grant money in lieu of the previously promised TIF money. So we wouldn't have to go through that TIF agreement. We'd just go through a much easier process. It would still be that same amount of 20,000 that's already pledged to the project. But like I said, money already invested counts towards our match.
It's Region 12 more than one city.
Yes, they are our local, or not local, but regional council of local governments. So I'm not sure what all is in their jurisdiction, but
Do all cities pay the $1,000?
if they were applying for this grant, yes, that would be their cost on that.
I can't say a bad word about the Nudges. They've done wonderful things, wonderful projects. over the years.
Any further discussion on?
Yeah.
If there's not further discussion, thank you, Daniel. Call the roll, please.
Klein.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Berkland.
Yes.
Mahler.
Yes.
Scott.
Next item, resolution authorizing the mayor and/or fire chief to sign and accept the fiscal year 2021 Assistance to Firefighters Grant. On September 11th, 2022, the city of Perry was provided by the Department of Homeland Security an award letter stating the approval of grant funding of opportunity for a 1,500 GPM pumper truck, which was approved in the amount of $477,238.09. And federal funding with a condition that the city contributes non-federal funds equal to or greater than 5% of the federal funded award, or $23,861.91. This action would accept the grant terms and authorize the mayor and/or fire chief to sign all documents necessary to execute. Need a motion, please?
I make a motion to pass resolution authorizing the mayor and the fire chief to sign and accept the fiscal year 2021 assistance firefighters.
I second that.
Discussion?
So this is a pretty rare opportunity. I think it's only one of about 3 or 4 in the state that was awarded. So definitely a great opportunity for us. And this truck would be replacing our oldest pumper, which is a
1956 in France.
so.
Fantastic.
So I think that was probably helped us on the scoring a little bit. A little bit outdated equipment, so this should get us
This,
something a little bit nicer.
this through the Department of Homeland Security. This is a assistance to firefighter grant. And yes, the age of the truck did help us on the scoring, but this is something where we were competing against every city that has a fire department in the United States and all of the territories. So it was a big pool that we were selected out of for this. So it was quite a feat that we were able to get this money. And hopefully we can get a truck that'll last us as long as that one has. Our plan with the 56 is for it to remain the property of the city of Perry, and we will keep it for parades, funerals, and things like that, and but retire it from service. It currently carries a current certification and everything, and has been in service for our ISO rating, and this will replace it to maintain our current ISO rating.
And it comes with good timing because the pump certification company was starting to not want to certify a 1950s pumper.
It certifies very well every year. In fact, it certifies better now than it did when it was new. But because of the age of it, they're afraid every year that something is going to break and parts are not readily available to repair it if it does. So they have a concern about that every year, and they say, we don't want to service it.
To get the new replacement truck.
About 2.5 years is what the companies are telling me. This is a concern of ours that they're that far out on building new trucks right now. So.
This old drill needs to recertify for another couple of years.
I visited with a company in Wisconsin this morning, and they were telling me that they're 24 to 36 months out on building trucks. So,
I'm not surprised.
yeah.
All right. Any other discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you.
The time frame for the new one stinks, but that's a really cool deal.
Absolutely.
That's
A
amazing.
$500,000
Yeah.
for 24,000.
I'm gonna go to bed in a whole different mood than I was before.
Call the roll, please.
Berkland.
Yes.
Mahler.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Shot,
Absolutely.
Klein.
Yes.
And thank you, chief, and whoever else worked on that, putting that grant together. It was well worth it. Next item are ordinances. First one is ordinance amending the Code of Ordinance, Chapter 111, electric franchise. This ordinance would amend Chapter 111, Section 7 of the Code of Ordinance to impose a franchise fee of 4% upon gross revenue generated from sales of electricity from Interstate Power and Light Company. Need a motion, please?
First reading.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
So as discussed in previous meetings, Public Works put together a nice proposal. Initially, this will remove all of our ash trees, get us on a rotation of trimming all street and alleys, trees and brush. Every 3 years, the community is split up into 3 sections, and every year we'll do 1 section of town, so be able to keep up with tree trimming. And then once we're through the ash trees, year 4, we'll be able to start a fund for sidewalk improvements, whether that's specific projects or an improvement grant. We have some time to figure that out, but wonderful opportunity to start dedicating some money towards sidewalk infrastructure.
And this is really an increase of 2%. We already have a 2% franchise fee. So
Yep,
yes,
we're at
it kind of
2%.
misreads a little bit. We're not implementing a 4%. We already have a 2%. So 2 additional percent.
Can you tell the public what an average household would go up in price for the taxes for that?
So it's based off your Alliant Energy bill. So this is on the Alliant Energy franchise fee. So if you have $100 electric bill, it'd be another $2. So kind of depends on what electrical use.
Okay,
Yes.
let the public know it's not gonna jump $100.
Right.
No. $2 for every $100. Any additional discussion? Not call the roll, please.
Walling. Yes. Mahler.
Yes.
Berkland.
Yes.
Shot,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Thank you. Second ordinance, ordinance repealing do we have to do, back up to the franchise, do we have to have 3 readings on that one too?
That's up to the council.
It's up to council, but usually we do first reading. and
Yeah.
Second.
So we will have to have 3 total.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Ordinance repealing the Code of Ordinance, Chapter 75, all-terrain vehicles and snowmobiles, and replacing it with Chapter 75, all-terrain vehicles, off-road utility vehicles, and snowmobiles. This ordinance would repeal Chapter 75, all-terrain vehicles and snowmobiles, and replace it with Chapter 75, all-terrain vehicles, off-road utility vehicles, and snowmobiles. The state of Iowa, through recent House File 2130, revised their code, and therefore a need to review and adjust the ordinance of the city was needed. Need a motion?
Make a motion to pass ordinance repealing the Code of Ordinance, Chapter 75, all-terrain vehicles and snowmobiles, and replacing it with Chapter 75, all-terrain vehicles, off-road utility vehicles, and snowmobiles.
First reading.
First reading.
First,
I'll second.
Discussion?
Is this what they brought to us, that they wanted, those type of vehicles?
Yep, so I know the Public Safety Committee got together with Chief Vaughn and City Clerk Hicks. We need official titles. But I know Liz and Chief have been working on kind of some of those revisions. I don't know if the committee wants to say anything. Chief Vaughn, I've not had much to do with this, so I'm going to delegate discussion.
Well, basically what it does, it kind of mirrors the state code that was passed in July. But the only thing it's allowing are UTVs, which are 4 to 6 wheeled vehicles that have bench or bucket seats. And they have to have safety equipment, turn signals, horns, headlights, that type of thing. We also did make sure that in our code that it specifies that if that vehicle basically has seatbelts, that they have to be used, operates on the city streets also. It doesn't allow for ATV, like a four-wheeler or a regular four-wheeler that you have to straddle, or like a three-wheeler. It does not allow for golf carts or anything like that. We kind of discussed those options, and we decided to go with UTVs just because they're a little safer vehicle. They have seat belts, they have roll cages and that type of thing, for the most part.
And they have to follow all regulations that the rest of us have that drive on the roads.
Yeah, yes.
Including a
Yep.
driver's license.
Yep. The one stipulation with, or one thing a little bit different about the UTVs, mirroring the state, they have to be 18 years old. Valid license, they have to have they have to be registered with the recorder's office, the DNR, have a DNR sticker. They have to have insurance. Yeah, 18 years old. I know I'm missing one stipulation there.
You added, we added the child restraints.
Yeah, and the child restraints also. So, so we won't have 16-year-old kids running around on these things. It's not legal. They can't drive over 35 miles an hour, which really shouldn't be an issue here in the city limits anyway. And then they're restricted from driving on 141 and 144 also.
They
Within our city
can
limits.
cross it, but they can't drive.
They can cross in a direction, like if they're going south on 16th Street, they can go over or something like that, or, crossing over east to west over 144, they can do that. They just can't travel up and down those roads. And then with the snowmobiles, basically, the only thing we really added in there was to allow snowmobiles access to gas stations directly from the trail that's already been approved. Gets approved every year by the Snow Chasers. I can't think of Raccoon River Valley Snow Chasers, I think is the name of the group, that has a designated path that uses part of the bike trail. And then in our city limits goes through some of the parks. So we allow access directly to the gas station and then back to the trail. But it still restricts them from use inside the city limits. Other than that,
Outside of snow emergency.
yes.
You may or may not have read it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Liz did most of the work, I'd have to say, on this, so.
You gave me direction and I
Yeah.
punched it in.
Yeah.
With the help of
Thank you to the committee who worked so hard on clarifying this and putting it together. Any further discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Berkland,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Walling. Yes. Schott.
Yes.
Okay, approved first reading. Having no further business before us tonight, we will adjourn at 7:18 PM. Thank you. Have a good evening.
So. Oh, no, no.